This is an ABP Live Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm Aabir Lahiry. You're watching ABP Live Podcast. International Yoga Day is around the corner, and हमने सोचा कि योगा के बहुत अलग-अलग zones हैं, वो बहुत अलग-अलग फिनोमेना हैं, जिसको बहुत अलग-अलग लोग एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं. तो मैं सोच रहा हूँ कुछ लोगों से बात करते हैं जो योगा को अपने वे ऑफ लाइफ बना चुके हैं. Joining me today in conversation is Madam Kamini Bobde. She's a Kundalini Yoga practitioner. She has been a part of ABP Live Podcast last year जब इनकी बुक रिलीज हुई थी. एंड मैंने सोचा कुछ थोड़ा डिटेल में इस कॉन्वर्सेशन को आगे बढ़ाते हैं. वेलकम टू ABP Live Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward.
Okay.
This conversation.
Before we dig deep into Kundalini Yoga and yoga as a way of life, what exactly is Kundalini Yoga and how is it different from like Anulom Vilom and Pranayam?
So you see, Kundalini Yoga, simply one can say, is a more intensive practice.
Okay.
So for example, any other path of yoga, the normal what people are practicing, we will say is in passenger train.
Okay.
And Kundalini Yoga is like a bullet train.
Oh बाप रे.
Yes.
इतना डिफरेंस है.
Yes. So, just as what a passenger train's requirement would be regards the track, the train, the technology, engineering, and the difference between what a bullet train would require and how much more precautions it will require. Because you're doing the bullet train traveling at that speed, something happening, and
True.
So it's exactly like that. So it's just one of the parts of yoga. There are so many parts, So, but it is an intensive practice, and it has got, like fear surrounding around it, and some awe and mystical, So it has developed that only because of this, that people generally feel, oh, this is not for us. This is not for people who are engaged in the worldly activity of earning money, having a family, wife, children, and enjoying all the things of life. Yeah. So it's only for people who retire to the mountains and go to an ashram. But my book precisely is written for this reason, to dispel these notions.
Okay.
So it is a different practice in the sense it will demand a little more from you, but anybody can.
But what exactly it means? By Kundalini, what I can like Sandhi Vichet karo, it's like spinal cord. It is related to spinal cord. ये मेरे दिमाग में आता है. That is the notion I have. Is it actually true?
Of course, it is true. It is a yogic science. There are all the different yogas.
There is Hatha Yoga.
Science.
There is Hatha Yoga.
Hatha Yoga is there, Tantra is there, Mantra is there. All these are parts of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. सभी योगी है, पर कुंडलिनी योगा का जो टेक्निक और जो साइंस है, it's all very scientific. Yoga is not some mumbo jumbo and all that. So it says and that in your spine are certain points, which even medical world says your solar plexus, your the different plexus in the body. So those points for yoga is the chakras.
Okay.
So right from the base of your spine, below the tailbone, the cervix center is the first chakra, and then you move up to the tailbone, to the navel center, heart center, throat center, then Agya chakra here, the command center for the body, then Bindu chakra here, the soft spot here, then finally the final chakra, Sahasrara chakra, where you become one with the Creator. The universal force, truth, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So your whole journey is to awaken this psychic center.
And it starts with this chakra and then goes to
right. Okay. And everybody, whether you're a poor man, rich man, you're a banker, whatever you may be, every human being is born with this Kundalini Shakti, the energy within you.
Okay.
Now it's up to you whether you want to explore it, awaken it, and enjoy the full potential of your brain and body.
Okay. How does one start? What exactly? Let me ask that question later. How exactly you came into this? What brought you here?
Yeah, so that's very interesting because people will totally connect to this because I did not come into yoga with all these high,
spirituality,
goals or anything. मेरा छोटा मोटा problem था और वो भी बहुत बड़ा problem नहीं था कि मैं कुछ heart or cancer or nothing. बहुत long standing chronic stomach problems रहते थे which so many people you will find these days out of stress, out of so many things. What you eat and all that. So either I'll have diarrhea or I'll have constipation or gas or So always I used to be fed up that थोड़ा worry रहता था मैं क्या खाऊं क्या नहीं.
कहीं भी अगर travel में problem होगा कुछ होगा.
Exactly, and I'm such a foodie. बाहर खाने का बहुत शौक और बाहर खाए तो फिर कल क्या होगा उसका worry ऐसा सब चलता था. तो वो एक बारी प्रॉब्लम था मेरे लिए और एक स्लीप अच्छा नहीं होता था. I used to sleep all 8 hours, 7 hours and all, but I used to dream continuously. And because of these dreams, I used to get up tired because my body never relaxed and went into deep sleep. I was in that, rapid eye movement state all the time. So that's why maybe, And then I used to have fatigue in my legs. So because of that tiredness रहता था. सुबह उठ के भी ऐसे
एनर्जी नहीं है.
हाँ तो
बॉडी हाइबरनेट नहीं हो रही है.
करो ये सब जा रहा ही नहीं था. But 15 days of doing yoga, very simple yoga, and it all started just going.
So it was not Kundalini. It was basic yoga.
No, very ordinary yoga. But my teacher who came to teach me, he's belonged to Bihar School of Yoga. So I've been following the Bihar School of Yoga system, which is very pure. They haven't played around with it, and they follow the very traditional pure form of yoga. But it's also, they give you a lot of the scientific background to it. It's not anything to be believed and all. You get all the rational explanations.
ठीक है, makes sense.
So वो मेरे को इतना I got fascinated. For years I thought my father suffered from all this. So ये तो अपने DNA में है. Genetic है. अभी I have to live with this. But when it just went away like that, I got so fascinated.
So you could eat chaat, pakodi, samosa, everything.
अरे बिल्कुल life मजा हो गया एकदम. So and that tiredness and my sleep got so much better. Till today, maybe 10 times in a year I dream. Otherwise, I'm just.
But is it good not to dream or is it bad?
See, deep sleep is very important. See, when your subconscious, unconscious, which carries all the germs for your dreams, जब तुम्हारा conscious mind rest में चले जाता है, अभी तो conscious mind चल रहा है, तो जब when you're in your sleep state, your subconscious, unconscious में जो buried है, worries, trauma, past life things also, they surface. तो वो तो साफ नहीं होता है कोई साधारण चीज से. योग उसको साफ करता है. जैसे जैसे वो साफ करता है ना, उसमें तुमको कोई काउंसलर के पास नहीं जाना है, कुछ सोचना नहीं है मैंने क्या किया, मेरे को ऐसा दुख हुआ था, ये मेरे साथ ट्रेजेडी हुई थी, whatever may be your trauma in this life. The practice has things in it which cleans it up. So once those things are gone, those deep buried fears and whatever is what you don't even know sometimes, that there are certain reactions you have, कि सबके अलग अलग रहते हैं. कि किसी को कुत्ते का बहुत fear है, किसी को सांप का फोटो भी देखा नहीं जाता, इतना उनको reaction, like that. So no, all these are very irrational. Why a photo of a snake should cause so much trauma or fear? So these are all your buried some experience you had, which you also don't know. So as these things start clearing up, your sleep gets better.
And how come then you shifted from the normal yoga to a Kundalini yoga?
Yeah, so like I said, just as this just happened like that, there is no. So when I got very interested in yoga, I started reading up a lot, and like I said, Bihar School of Yoga has some fantastic books with the scientific explanation, with the traditional thing, with the shlokas in Sanskrit, its translation, its everything. So I just needed to read, and I'm very fond of reading. But this opened a whole new world of books for me.
Okay.
I didn't feel like reading fiction anymore. I didn't feel like reading anything. Just 10, 12 years, even 5 minutes time, I'm with a yoga book.
Okay.
Because it helps in your practice. It's just that I connected so much to it.
Okay.
So then I started writing a column
Okay.
with guidance of my guru. And so one of the articles I wrote was on Kundalini Yoga.
Okay.
And it got fantastic response.
Okay.
So, but as I was writing, I got interested, and then
Okay.
I read about it.
Do you practice on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Okay. How does one choose this path? Like अगर किसी का एक so called corporate slave है जो पूरे दिन रात मेहनत कर रहा है, ऑफिस जा रहा है, कुछ लाइफ में वैसे ही कुछ नहीं बचा है, वो क्या करे?
हाँ, बहुत सिंपल है. जैसे अपना एजुकेशन है, तुम प्राइमरी से शुरू कर रहे हो, मिडिल स्कूल में जा रहे हो, हाई स्कूल में जा रहे हो, एक पॉइंट पे फिर तुमको चूज करना है कि अब मुझे, तो ये भी वैसे ही तुम शुरू करते हो सिंपल आसन, प्राणायाम, जैसा पूरा दुनिया आज कर रही है ना, बस वो ही स्टेप से शुरू करना है, कोई खास कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं. इनफैक्ट इट इज बेटर यू स्टार्ट लाइक दैट, बिकॉज कुंडलिनी देन जस्ट लाइक you reach a high school college level, then you say अच्छा अब ये डॉक्टर बन सकता है, अब ये इंजीनियर बन सकता है, जो भी पाथ लेना है अपने को, तो वैसा फिर even in yoga you will reach. So the steps for yoga is that first you have to get rid of all your bodily problems. स्पाइन में तकलीफ नहीं होना, पेट के प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना, ये वो करके then once your body is finally balanced, finally tuned, and also it starts affecting your brain, definitely, not only the organ, the neurons and the cells and its capacity. Like the research is that people who practice meditation, even people who practice for 3 to 4 months, they found that their hippocampus size had increased. Now, if you know what all hippocampus does and how important a part of the brain it is for memory, retention, understanding, so that much more capacity you have suddenly created in your brain. So that is the meditation, and that is also, people get a little this, so it's a very big higher practice and all. It's only you go by step. So now if you reach a certain step, your body, mind is ready now, then you can choose. There are so many paths. It need not be that everybody chooses Kundalini Yoga, but what the point I want to make is there is no restriction either.
Okay.
The world has unnecessarily got into this thing.
But क्या डर है, मतलब सोसाइटी के अंदर डर क्या होता है?
वही डर है जो मैंने बुलेट ट्रेन और पैसेंजर ट्रेन का बताया है कि you have to कुंडलिनी योग में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, जैसे सभी चीज लाइफ में है, you are the problem. What you do with the thing.
नहीं, but in general perceived notion क्या है कि क्या हो जाएगा ऐसा क्या सोच के डरते हैं लोग?
देखो अभी see.
Is it a very secret kind of a thing? Is it a very
secret?
भूत वाला zone वैसा?
नहीं कुछ भी नहीं.
Because
मेरा तो भूत का fear, बहुत बड़ा fear था मेरे को भूत.
अच्छा.
हाय राम, मैं तो अकेली नहीं सो सकती थी. कभी मेरी लाइफ में भगवान 1-2 बार ऐसा आया कि मुझे पूरे घर में अकेले सोना पड़ा. And but I practice some things which is there in my book, and just disappeared. Now I cannot even imagine that I can have a fear of ghosts, but I have suffered so much because बहुत ये रहता है ये डर. It's a debilitating thing. So yeah, it's nothing to do. In fact, it will drive away all these kind of things. So it's just that I'll tell you. You have to give that time. ना समय देना है या नहीं देना ही है. बाकी का चीज तुम ठीक है हफ्ते में 3 बार कर रहे, तुमको हेल्थ का बेनिफिट मिल रहा है, पर तुम वहाँ नहीं रुक के तुम आगे बढ़ते हो, एंड देन यू से कि this practice requires 2 hours, means 2 hours. So it will be gradual, not suddenly. By then what happens is that your capacity to do every other work, जो तुमको 5 घंटा लगता था,
वो 3 घंटे,
जैसे मैं जर्नलिस्ट हूँ, मैं राइटर हूँ, मैं लिखती हूँ, तो मैंने ये से एक्सपीरियंस किया जो मुझे 5 घंटा लगता था आउटपुट के लिए फॉर एन आर्टिकल और एनीथिंग, नाउ आई नीड 2 hours. So what have you done? Added
You have been
hours to the
fast.
life. So वो 2 घंटा जो तुमको योग को देना है वो तो वैसे ही मिल गया ना, तुम्हारा कैपेसिटी बढ़ गया करके. तो लोग बोलते हैं हम नहीं दे सकते 1 घंटा, हम नहीं दे सकते 2 घंटा, ऐसा सब सोच के दे वहीं पे डंप कर देते आइडिया को. बट एक्चुअली इट्स नॉट ओनली दैट यू कैन हैव दैट टाइम, ऑल्सो इट्स अ वेरी एंजॉयबल थिंग. दूसरा एक लोग क्या सोचते हैं कि ये बहुत टैक्सिंग है, ये मेरे को कुछ करना पड़ेगा, ऐसा कुछ करना पड़ेगा जो बहुत कठिन रहेगा. So it's not.
सर को कंधे के ऊपर रखना है, पैर को सर के ऊपर रखना है, ये सब कुछ होगा.
So it's not that. In fact, जब कुंडलिनी प्रैक्टिस शुरू होता है तो you're doing nothing.
Okay.
Yes, you reach that stage.
So, like I have never seen a Kundalini yoga practice. What exactly it entails? Like you have mantras,
Yes.
you just meditate.
Yes.
You just meditate.
No, just meditate doesn't happen. So mind is तो monkey इतना घूमता है वो इतना सब, तो mind को but योग says don't bother about the mind. अब उसके पीछे मत पड़ो कि ऐसा नहीं सोचना, वो नहीं खाना, ये नहीं करना, कुछ मत करो, उसको रहने दो. But factored in the practice of your yoga, in the small practice that you start with, you won't believe it. It's so beautifully done. So scientifically and so gradual is the progress that you don't realize that finally you are tuning your mind, gaining control over it, understanding it, observing it. All these things slowly come into your practice.
Okay.
It's not overnight. So by then, when you reach that stage, your mind has become pretty silent. इतने thoughts, इतना सब
ये सब अब लिया नहीं आता.
नहीं देते अपने को तकलीफ, And the fact is that we do have what is the research, 90,000 thoughts a day, out of which 90% thoughts are negative. Every human being. Yes, you just observe and see. It's a research, scientific research. But it's true because of evolutionary processes, mind is taught to be more worried, fearful, watching out for dangers, caveman and all. तो ये जो अपनी वृत्ति है, नेचुरल वृत्ति है, इसको योगा पूरा
Change कर देता है.
and you yourself, you become so happy because you don't have any health problem. Health problem is a big source of unhappiness. Sustaining this state of happy, calm is what yoga slowly gets you to.
Okay.
खुशी तो सबकी लाइफ में है.
सही बात.
अभी जैसे आपने बोला जाते पिकअप करना है,
शॉर्मा पिकअप.
हाँ, बट ये खुशी को सस्टेन करना है. एक बार वो शॉर्मा खा लिया, अब नेक्स्ट क्या ना, तो कुछ और इसमें जाता है. तो ये सब चीजें ग्रेजुअली होती है.
Okay. Now let's talk about the chakras. What exactly these chakras mean? And एक इंसान मतलब not a very बहुत बड़ा साधु या एक अमूमन एक नॉर्मल इंसान कितने चक्रास अटेन कर सकता है लाइफ में? पूरे.
Yes.
And how do you know that these chakras are evolved? Is it like how do you get to know?
See, it's all not difficult, but it's not instantaneous.
Okay.
जो आजकल के लोगों को आदत है
कि फटके से मिल जाए फास्ट 10 मिनट में ग्रोसरी डिलीवरी.
instant this, instant. Definitely not that. It takes time. And just as science is objective inquiry, experiments you करके you are also working for the truth of what is what. So, but in yoga it is experiential.
Okay.
Na? That is your lab of finding the reality and truth of things. So now similarly you asked about the chakras. So I told you these are the chakras. So when you have tuned your body, finely tuned it now. It's like your mobile and so many devices now. वो एक frequency पे चल रहे हैं ना, वो catch कर रहे हैं इमेजेस, ये जो आज तुम करो broadcast, all this is on frequency and energy.
True.
So similarly, you have tuned your body without you realizing. It's become like a transmitter and receptor.
Okay.
Not only of what your sense organs are showing you, but now you start connecting to another level,
Okay.
which you can't see normally.
Okay.
But when you close your eyes and go inside, then you start seeing, experiencing, hearing things
Okay.
which this normal sense organs cannot. Yes, it's
Okay.
all very scientific. So
Okay.
you are harnessing this universal energy, consciousness, this field you are creating around you. Everything is a field, if I really know. But because of your breathing practices, because your brain is now giving out different waves,
Okay.
alpha, beta, delta, gamma, you start connecting to another frequency of the universe.
Okay.
And you start getting those answers below, experiences.
ठीक है.
and all.
But how do we know that we are in chakra 3 or chakra 1 or chakra 5?
हाँ, so इसलिए मैंने बोला कि experience is the answer.
Okay.
So you're finally tuned your body, does that. You're practicing, then slowly pranayam बहुत बढ़ाते हैं.
अच्छा.
Pranayam practice becomes more than your asanas.
Oh.
Yes. So you were practicing 45 minutes of asanas. Now asanas is just 20 minutes. Pranayam is say half an hour, and after that, that next level of meditative practices. Then slowly, asanas will become very little.
Okay.
Pranayam, and then with pranayam, mudras, bandhas,
What are bandhas?
you lock certain parts, systems of your body. Like, यहाँ पे जल अंदर बंद करते हैं, तो you lock this whole system which controls your respiratory, voice and everything.
Oh.
Then stomach में एक lock है. These are the 3 major granthis in your body. They are the locks.
Okay.
So you practice this, you release those locks, and then you release that much more energy within. Yeah. So it's all very scientific. Even in science, if you read, you find that these points are something in the medical world, are something in the scientific world. Yes, and which is what the Bihar School of Yoga does a very good.
It's a fusion of science and
yes.
yoga.
So when you are practicing, इतना समझ के practice जो होता है ना, तो बहुत मजा भी आता है, उसका result भी अच्छा मिलता है, instead of just belief and faith.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, like I said, you start doing the pranayam. So Kundalini practice itself will have a combination of the breathing, then
Asanas.
no, this
Mudras.
then bandha, and then mudra में खाली ये हस्त मुद्रा हो गया है. But there are like Shambhavi mudra. So here you take your eyeballs to the eyebrow center. This is your most powerful center. It's the command center for the body, and this is the third eye. So these are the psychic centers you start practicing. Your eyes are closed. Nobody can see what you're doing.
Okay.
So you are focusing on your Argya chakra. Then another mudra is Khechari mudra. You curl your tongue and take it further and further and further inside till over the years you can touch the navel cavity, the nasal cavity. That's your Lalana chakra. That's another small chakra. So like these are the, nobody can see you. They're just seeing that you're sitting in Padmasana for hours. What is she doing? But I'm doing a lot of internal practices for the chakras, with the bandha, with the mudra, and it goes on and on. The chakra awareness, breathing through the chakras, saying the chakra mantras. ये तो 1 घंटा भी लग सकता है, 1.5 घंटा भी. तो मेरा ये जो शुरुआत का जो योग था वो छोटा सा हो जाता है, और ये सब these are the higher practices in which you really don't do सर पे खड़े रहना. You're just sitting in Padmasana and doing the practice.
Wow, what has been the most amazing experience of yoga?
It's read in my book.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll surely read that, but if you
it was quite something. And कुछ बोल नहीं सकते. जैसे you're asking me ना, how will you know अनाहत खुल गया क्या? Manipur खुल गया क्या. Although certain powers which we call siddhis and all, they start happening to you, and then you know there are certain powers associated with the Manipur chakra कि तुमको बहुत ये money यानी gems, no, wealth.
Money.
हाँ, you become very dynamic, assertive, and somehow wealth starts coming to you. जो पहले तुम इतनी मेहनत कर रहे थे, वही business, वही सब था, अब क्यों ऐसा हो रहा? So all these will be the subtle ways in which life will start changing, and you. So anahat is love, you know. Suddenly you start feeling love for everybody, you know. Earlier you had your this man I can't stand, he's like this, you know, all these barriers are there because of your own psychic. But you become very full of universal love, like Mother Teresa. Surely her anahat must have been very open. In fact, most of her chakras must have been open. So you don't have to do yoga, but for people who are not born a Mother Teresa, she was
They need to
yes, do all this. This is there.
Activated.
Yeah. So yoga is not only union, but it is the most inclusive practice that you can have. It doesn't leave out anybody or anything. It will never say that Japanese cannot do it, or this one cannot do it, or this faith people, or that religion. Nothing is the, you know, everything is inclusive. Nothing is excluded. So, yes, so this is how you practice, and it's wonderful feeling. It's the most beautiful time for you in the 24 hours. Is what I've experienced.
So cool. This has been an amazing conversation because I really wanted to know what exactly Kundalini Yoga is all about. And I guess it's still a journey for me to explore more and more about it because मैं भी पढ़ूंगा and मैं भी शायद बहुत कुछ सीख सकता हूँ. But thank you for having this conversation with us because काफी कुछ पता चला जो मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि ये भी हो सकता है.
I hope so, really.
Thank you very much. And what is your message to all those people who are watching you right now?
That yoga in the last century was all about health, but even in the early 1900, Swami Satyananda had said that yoga is going to be the culture of the world, and we can see it in this century now that the world is practicing yoga, thinking about it, researching into it, accepting. I mean, that acceptance now, there is no doubt that yoga will always benefit you in various ways. So I would like to say ki please remove all these barriers and these thoughts that yoga is boring, or you can't build your muscles, or this whatever you want to do, you can do through the yoga, but only thing is you should know it's holistic. So it will not only give you the
muscles
arms,
and
it will give you the brains also. It attends to the whole man's everything. The whole being is addressed.
Super. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you very much. It was
Thank
wonderful.
you so much for
Thank you.
taking
And that was a detailed conversation on Kundalini Yoga on this World Yoga Day. Thank you very much.